I'm just kidding. I've got audio. You should be able to hear me fine. Everything should be fine. Everything should be fine, and you should be able to hear everything I said, unless I'm wrong. And then right now, I actually think that I'm talking, but really I'm not. I really have no way of knowing. I only have lights that either reaffirm things or perpetuate false rumors that I have swimming in my head. This is a completely jacked kind of method of communicating what we have right here. So I hear French words. Oui, oui, baffling arcana. Arcanos bafflangos, cosendio, kianda honianda, kabumda. He has regained, yes, that's right. Had a little weirdness starting off. Melanie, I don't hear, nor do I feel any proof that you just texted. I see your text, but it makes no sound, and it's not on mute. It's not even on mute. I checked that before the show. I hope I hit everything. I'm pretty sure I did. It's probably not the most politest way to start the show. I'm glad you're here. I am thankful for your witness. Your witness, in my opinion, is pretty much the only commodity that runs the world. We utilize currency and trade and effervescence to kind of cover up the fact that the real currency that runs this entire place is witness. And human witness is so important that the very first punishment ever created was not death. No, no, no. It was the lack of witness. That shunning and banishing someone was considered the worst punishment of all because we had a more honest approach as to why we're all here. And as we start to uncover and start to learn the truth of real currency, of what real currency means, we are going to be perpetually pretending that this world runs on something else. And which is kind of why we're in the predicament that we're here. Now, before we go on insisting that it's a predicament, I need to, let me see how I'm going to do this, James. I'm going to go to, yeah, this will work. I need to quickly clear up a little bit of house, stuff. Saying something is not evil is not the same as saying something is good. If you're watching me, I hope that you're trying, just trying as an experiment, at least while we're on the show together, to see the world without evil in it. And if you're truly trying that, some of you hear that and are like, that's fucking stupid. I'm shutting off now. Neuroplasticity is a fucking rumor. There is evil, fuck you. And that's great. The fact that people react that way so strongly all the time, see the comments yesterday, holy shit, kind of showcases for you exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. That this wake that we're carving is important, and sadly, most people never get out of port. And because they can't get out of port, we never get to fire up the engines, and I never get to show you what this motherfucker can do. That this concept, this conceptual way of perceiving reality that I'm offering to you, that you're on board right now, welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen, that this vessel has a speed capability that is unheard of in the plankton world. That we are able to rise up on a hydrofoil of understanding and bypass all of the emotional drudgery and barnacles which drag us the fuck way deep down as we pretend to be fighting evil. And you can't get past that because you automatically think that if there's no evil in the world, that means everybody is good. And that's your first mistake. And that's why you don't really get very far with me. If you have neuroplasticity, that thought should put you on the mat And by putting you on the mat, I mean it knocks you on your ass a second. Because you're like, there's no evil. Now, your ass is on the mat. You haven't heard a concept like that before. Maybe in this way, or in such a personal way. I'm not trying to say it's my idea. I'm trying to say that you're faced with this new philosophy, and it's either going to make you very nervous and upset and tangibly agitated, and you're going to create a field, or you're going to ignore it, run away, or you're going to maybe even, God forbid, entertain it for a while. But no matter what happens, just that idea when you first encounter it, it puts you on your ass. Doesn't mean it's right. But the idea was so from left field that you got to think about it. You're stunned for a while. And the moment you're stunned is the moment you feel like someone's taking something from you. Which is why people get so fucking mad when they're told something they never heard before. That we have this air about us that we're supposed to know all this stuff. That we're supposed to have all these concepts figured out. That ignorance is a kind of nakedness. But the naked body is beautiful. And I want your side boob here. I want the cleft. I want those two dots right above the belt line. We want that nakedness here because it is the essence of humanity. It's what breeds tribe, and it's what makes you more confident without the falsities of clothing, fashion, or beliefs in evil. To suggest that there's no evil in the world does not mean that everything is good. No. It actually means that you take off the goggles, the red and the blue goggles of those 3D things that you think makes the world 3 dimensions, these flat pieces of cellophane that were free. Remember, popcorn, $8, 3D glasses, free. That when you pull that cellophane off, you're not going to miss the movie. You're not. You're actually going to see something even more profound. And it's not about assigning or disassigning. I'm not abdicating anyone from their responsibility. I'm giving you more of it. But when you have this belief that there is evil, you're doing the oldest sin in the world, which is the scapegoat. That you and I, if we're going to believe in evil, have formed a cult, and we've created a hypothetical goat, this poor innocent goat, that's just hanging out. It's got like a bell on it. It jumps up on top of the car. It makes you mad, but after a while you're like, that's fine. That goat is marauding around your backyard. It's the cutest thing you've ever seen, but one day you decide it is the cause of all the evil in your world. And you think I'm making this up, and I'm not. I'm not. It was made up by people like us who sat around going, there's evil in the world and we got to go out and find it. And one of us will be sitting in the kitchen looking out the window going, man, these people would sure like me in here if I was to find the source of the evil and I was to cleanse it. And while that person's in the back door eyeing the goat, someone's on the front porch going, gosh, man, I wonder if the evil's in our house. I wonder if right now there's someone inside our house right now that is the source of this hypothetical evil. And this belief in these goggles creates this binary hunt. And you start to decide and discern which of us is good and which of us is evil. And you start to create these stories, and the worst thing happens. Because the actions of man now go out the window, and a new economy of trust and suspicion enters the house, and all of the residents succumb to this new kind of economy. And what is not evil is now seniority. Yes, that the person who's been in the house the longest is by default considered good, and anyone else who finds or points to evil is automatically elevated to that council as well. And that you've now created a completely different system of morality And if you think what the word scapegoat truly means, you know historically this is what it meant. That a bunch of dudes like us sat around and decided that goat is the source of our evil. And because we could be wrong, because we might be wrong, we all decide at dinner one night, we will get 2 goats. We will take 2 goats from the backyard, and one of those goats will be our scapegoat. And the reason why we're getting 2 goats is because we want to be sure. Because, hey, we're good. Yeah, we're good. And good people, well, they don't just go around just killing things that are evil. No. They get 2 goats. And then it magically makes them good. And we take those 2 goats and we draw lots and we roll dice and we decide which of these 2 goats is the evil goat. And then we figure it out. And then we take that goat, we tie a white fucking ribbon to the door. And we walk that goat 4 miles and we push him off a fucking cliff. And the entire way, all of our friends and neighbors spit on that goat. They piss on that goat and they spit on that goat. And they tell that goat, you're the evil in this town. And they feel better. They feel better because they found the evil. Because they're like, you're the source of evil. It was that goat. And it ends up this giant milkshake where everybody takes a drink. And you get that sweet taste and it goes down your throat and you suddenly feel like you're the holiest thing that ever walked the earth. A new version of OBS is available. Hold on, please. Excuse me. That's not a made-up story. The City of God. That came from the City of God. We still practice that in certain parts of the world. And one of those parts that we practice that is right the fuck here. And we taint every movement with it. And the first litmus automatically becomes, are you good or are you evil? And the only requirements to pass are typically nepotism. And some of you might have a strict definition of nepotism, which means, dude, go away. Because if you don't understand what the true meaning of nepotism means, it's the inheritance of validity. That's all it means. And that when you enter these movements, when you step on board, you instantly start to notice that there's a hierarchy. And the source and root of why that hierarchy exists comes from the fetish for evil. Man, I'm having trouble. 1. Quit. I'm going to buy a new camera one day. I just have spent so much money lately on this show. I don't want to freaking buy a new camera too. It's just ridiculous. It won't let me hit this button. I'm assuming, yeah, you guys should be able to hear me. It's a bunch of screwed up stuff here. Sorry. Entire computer's frozen. I can't get through anything here. Wait, here we go. Let's quit that one. And then let's come back here. Sorry, guys. I'm a rookie. Actions and words become trumped by this seniority over not who's been the most righteous or who's done the most good, but who has pointed the most and said this is the source of evil. And that now becomes the source of good. And the entire time through this whole system, no one is good. No one. In fact, every single person that calls something else evil is literally showing you one thing. I have no empathy for what would cause this person to enter into a flow state where this decision would make sense. That's what evil means. You and I can say, John D. Rockefeller is evil. He was born evil, he's evil. We need to hang him. We need to burn him at the stake. We need to pull his fingernails off and shove bamboo under them. We need to force him to confess by tying his hands behind his back and raising him up off the ground over and over again, because that will make us good. And after we do that, you and I can go back to being good again. And that's literally the most evil fucking thing I've ever heard. And it's evil because not one of us sees this scapegoat technology at work. None of us see how much it profits ourselves to castigate someone else as evil. That you create a vector, a shield. The pointing of your vector creates a shield, a cone of silence, like in Max Get Smart. A cone of silence, a cone of innocence flows from the back of every evil arrow that's shot. And it creates this haven inside of you. But James, John D. Rockefeller is evil. And I'm telling you that if you, at the age of 1, watched your father rape the housemaid while you played with blocks in the hallway, and you were raised in this house where this man, Devil Bill as they called him, was selling snake oil, was literally putting lies in bottles and secreting them and selling them to anyone that would buy, and was successful. And was so successful that he had enough money to invest in your oil refinery business once you got older. That you, growing up in that house, would not be evil because you were there. But if we're going to believe in evil, I would then have to argue with you, and you would have to say, well, no, he wasn't evil while he was watching his dad get raped. But that turned him evil. That turned him evil, see? And then he became evil, and then from that moment on, he was evil. But before that, he was innocent. So now we see that this rumor of evil is a contagion. You've just created a goddamn virus. And you just told me that this virus can only be cured through pure eradication. But as you start to unravel the truth of John D. Rockefeller and what this man went through, you start to exercise muscles that you didn't even know that you had. And you start to question the very foundation of what compassion is. That here you are having compassion for someone that you know has done all these things that are wrong. And that you, my friend, are a juggernaut now. That you were able to outlift everyone else at the gym, and not once have you called John D. Rockefeller good. However, because you're living in this scapegoat world where these fucking numbnuts are running around looking for an innocent animal to gut and push off a cliff, you realize that you were being routed in as evil too. That by abstention you were evil because you were not participating in their witch hunt for an invisible, hypothetical, goddamn virus that only inflicts invisible Luciferian families that no one's been able to find one. That still to this day, none of us have come up with a human that has black wings and a black tongue. Nor have we decided that after burning that person, that was actually a good call, because it turned out that really was Satan's love whore. And that not only has that not happened, but the entire witch hunt, the entire Inquisition, the entire vaccine industry, the abortion industry, the Senate, the entire concept of DC itself, the 108 countries that our veterans, who are supposed to be heroes, have invaded again and again every 1.3 years, that all of them are good, but it is an invisible, hypothetical, motherfucking goat pulling the strings, and we have to catch him, and we have to find him. And anyone who thinks he's not there is clearly working for this secret, hypothetical, invisible goat. And I would say that's the most retarded thing I've ever seen, but I've been around a while. And I've seen the depth and capability of mass psychogenic illness. And I've watched mass psychogenic illness epigenetically embed itself into our families and neighbors. And we have that now. Have an evil, when you have a scapegoat, you were legitimizing their power, that you were taking all of your power and you're hypothetical Luciferian. Here's all my power. And I'm giving you that in the event of me pointing at you, gaining witness, gaining brothership from pointing at you, and by promising that if I ever see you, I will commit evil for the sake of good, that I will personally do harm to you because it is fully justified. The goat, ape, and I will hunt you down because I am. And that's fucking loco. That loco. And this game we have in the truth movement about seniority is exactly what a secret society does. It's exactly how Congress works. It's exactly how you get put on the committee for secret intelligence or whatever the fuck. Same way. Nepotism, politics, and goat hunting. Yes, goat hunting. And what makes this endearing, not evil, is that it is our love for humanity which runs this whole thing. The first punishment was banishment, not death. To be denied witness is the ultimate pain. And we will damn near push a goat off a cliff to hoard that witness. We will do anything to keep it. Enter the Salvation Movement. Enter the Evangelical Movement. When you have a book, now you have a Torah, a totem, a tent, for this kind of essence to gather around. For the scapegoaters to gather under a tent, now you have a book. And because you have a book, everyone can align to that book and read the nuances and corners of it and go out and find their own goats. Them through the forest. And the entire time while you're looking for that, not once do you think that you are capable of evil, which means you will vote, means you will send your kids to school, it means you will hope for QAnon. You will make decisions in your life without paying attention to your own responsibility because you offload that power to a hypothetical motherfucking goat that you promised to kill once you get it. That means you're good. And so you end up doing the usury yourself. Your spiritual usury on your brotherhood by saying, pretend like I'm good, by forgiving all the trespass that I'm about to unfold, because I'm promising more than all of you that I will kill that goat most. And what is Trump? What is Hillary? But the ultimate goat. And did Trump ever push Hillary off that cliff? No. Did Biden ever push Trump off that cliff? No. Has anyone in the evil is real truth movement ever shown you the black wings, the black severed wings of a Luciferian? Have they brought you the head on a platter and showed it to you on YouTube, saying, look, I captured the evil? No. But they tell you that it's just out of reach. They tell you that we've discovered new veins in the evil mother lode. And it's this constant promise of we're going to get that goat. We're going to get that goat. We're going to get that goat. I pet goat indeed, right? I pet goat 3. There. but no one wants 3. You know what it's like to be on Scooby-Doo and constantly be pulling the mask off and showing you, look, it's Old Man Withers, and everyone else is like, I liked it better as the ghost. Put his mask back on, James. You're ruining the show. That's how you know that this is a beautiful comfort movement, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful because of how retarded we are. I mean that with endearment. I do. The following paradigm is completely retarded. A perfect God's world was broken. The perfect God, his world was broken because this perfect God didn't have enough intelligence or foresight to see how arrogant we would be. That surprised him. The perfect omniscient God didn't see that coming. That man pulled a fast one on God. And that perfect God, not only did he not see the arrogance of man, but he mistrusted. That he see him trusting the wrong angel. And that because of his poor judgment in trusting angels and his poor foresight into looking at humans, this perfect God created this world, but our cleverness was so fucking clever that we outwitted him, and now we have evil. It's the most retarded thing that's ever been sold. Ever. Ever. And we're insisting that anyone who doesn't believe it is fucking evil. And we will kill every goat. Because we do not want to admit how fucking retarded that is. How absolutely arrogant and insulting it is to look at an omniscient God and say, yeah, you fucked up twice, buddy. Yeah, you didn't see this coming, and you didn't see that coming. It's seriously retarded. But we got plenty of goats in this world. So we have plenty of opportunities to not see this truth. To not even consider it. None of us have to. We have that luxury. It's part of what makes this place so beautiful. Because if you were forced to accept these things, none of us would know who our favorite humans are. None of us would be able to bequeath our witness in a rewarding way. You know, we give our witness away, but we don't even know how valuable it is. And since we don't know how valuable it is, it would be just as easy to give it to America as it would be to give this new author or this new idea or this new concept a chance. It's because we completely witness that we're so nonchalant about what we choose to associate with it. But deep down, we know the currency. We know how valuable humanity is. We know how important it is. You know, the first connection is touch. And you can touch with your eyes, by the way, but that's a tangent. But the first connection is touch. And your connection to God does actually have touch in it. That you physically, with your senses, can't touch the purest, rawest definition of God. I'm not at all trying to say that you touch God when you touch nature. Quite the opposite. But because you cannot touch that pure rawness of him, you find the touch of humanity so much more important. Humanity is the surrogate skin of God. When you're holding someone's hand, it's as close as you'll ever get to holding the hand of God. And so we understand how valuable that commodity is of witness. We understand how valuable that commodity is of civilization, of society, I should say. Because you can have society and it not be civilized. It's true. And it's not necessarily worse. I'm not saying it's necessarily better. I think there's a pendulum here. you'd find me complaining just as much no matter where we were. You're always going to find me complaining. You're also always going to find me finding little morsels that you might have missed. I mean, minor. I mine things from what I see. All of us do. And I offer these gems to you, and they're either fool's gold or you either like them or you don't. But I don't need you to trust me. I don't need you to believe me. I don't need this voting. Because if I have 17 people agree with me, or if I have one person agree with me, neither of those things determine whether or not something is true. If anything, it's a barometer to me how difficult or how easy it is for someone else to either accept this or to see through it. And so I don't value the accuracy in people. I value the resiliency, right, Melanie? I value the resiliency that I see. Because it's your resilience in the face of wrong that makes you human, not your accuracy. And I don't care how hard or how many people think that you found evil. At the end of the day, you're pushing a goddamn goat off a cliff, and you're trying to tell me that you're a good person for it. At the end of the day, you're telling me that the entire world is innocent, and you're the good guy, but you know who the evil person is. If we can just stop those Freemasons, or if we can just stop those Luciferians, or if we can just stop this or stop that, we're going to get them. Because that's exactly what made us invade 108 countries. It's the exact same thing. But each of us shove this cork up our ass when we start to call something, pretend like not only does my shit don't stink, I don't even shit anymore. And it's stopping you up. You're becoming constipated, and we start to turn on each other. The only people who turn on each other are the people who believe that there's evil out there. That when you're looking for this hypothetical evil, you will have no choice but to look at you and say, it's you. And you won't even know why you're doing that, because you have a deeper prana economy, because you just flat out miss holding the hands of God. And you want to hold his hand. And so you're going to go out and lie about something because you know the power of the scapegoat. You've seen this work before. I'm supposed to be talking about this. You sure me something. You know, I'll just say that the greater good, this idea that we have to work for the greater good, it's the basics of Socrates, by the way. Socrates drank the poison because the state told him to, because he said, I believe in the greater good. And he spent his whole career telling you about the greater good and about the importance of abandoning himself for that greater good. And you know what happened? People kissed his ass for it. And Socrates spent his life with the tongues of many men licking the orifice of his asshole, and it made him feel good. He felt, wow, now that is holding the hands of God. Ooh, that tickles, Demetrius. That's what he felt. And when he drank that hemlock, that was the pranic economy, the trade that he for all those asshole licks. That was his prana economy with that. But the greater good will always, always look exactly like evacuation. And if we're going to burn this goat for the greater good, if we're going to burn this witch for the greater good, if we're going to give you this vaccine for the greater good, if we're going to invade this country for the greater good, all it will require is mass evacuation. That's it. And I can't think of a worse, besides believing what I just told you, besides believing that God was too stupid with his trust of his highest angel, and underestimated how intelligent and clever man is, besides that insult, I think there's one insult that's even deeper. And it's to evacuate yourself while you're in this movie. All this time, this entire set, all the birds, all the trees, all the wind, all the people, everything has been placed here at exactly this moment for you to experience. And your experience is vital and important. You want to wear these stupid, gay-ass cellophane glasses that tells you which side is good and which side's evil. You might as well be a Republican. You might as well be a Zionist. Now, if your ass has been put on the mat with this idea, good, stay. This is a good mat. Because we will find things about ourselves, and we will exercise muscles of compassion that we did not think we were capable of doing, and you will have no choice but to see the world completely. And it won't always be fun. But you are watching the raw economy of man. You are looking at the red Ladhara, the deep down in your pants, what happens when no one's around. And men scratch their nuts and they gather a strange, weird skin, like skin lotion, that gets underneath their fingers when they scratch their genitals, and they smell that when no one's looking, and they use that to check in. Deep down they're saying, God, I am fucking here. And God's like, you're damn right you are. You just fucking smelled that. It's like, oh. And you were wired in, baby. You were here. Let's get some work done. The rod of Asclepius. Asclepius, the son of Apollo, was originally the god of healing. Was originally known as the god of medicine. Was originally considered the patron of medicine. In fact, you know the story of Moses and Numbers. We'll get to that in a second. But Asclepius, symbol, all the way back to Rome, actually pre-Rome, was a staff with a poisonous snake attached to it. Apollo's half-brother was Caduceus, was Hermes, sorry. Apollo's son was Asclepius. I'm telling you these differences in the genealogy because I want you to see the usurpation that has occurred. That the half-brother of Apollo inherited, well, I haven't seen that yet, but will inherit the rod of Asclepius, the meaning of the rod of Asclepius. That it was meant for Asclepius, that Apollo, having a son, he would inherit Apollo's wisdom and Apollo's ability to lead. But instead, something different happened. So, think about that. Asclepius, son of Apollo, Hermes, half-brother to Apollo. The rod of Asclepius, or staff of Asclepius, used to be the symbol of medicine. And according to Wikipedia, I love Wikipedia because it's showing you the mythology of mind. It's showing the mental landscape is written for you on Wikipedia. This is why I don't think you need to really mess around with what's true and what's false. You need to mess around with what people believe. Because when you understand the intricacies of what someone believes, you don't need to know what they know is true or what they think they know is true or what they think they know is false. You don't even need to look at them as evil. You simply need to look at, this is what the temple looks like. And inside this temple of belief, the rod of Asclepius is the rod of medicine. And because Wikipedia says, check this out, is a predominant symbol of medicine and healthcare, although because of a misunderstanding, the caduceus, the symbol of commerce, is sometimes seen in this context. The caduceus here, again, Wikipedia again, symbol of Hermes, features two snakes riding around an often winged staff. It is often mistakenly used as a symbol of medicine, especially in the United States, but this is incorrect. The two-snake caduceus has ancient and consistent associations with trade, with liars, with thieves, with eloquence, negotiation, alchemy, and wisdom. All right? It's a misunderstanding that only America accidentally added the second snake. And instead of using the snake of medicine, you start using the snake of liars, thieves, and wisdom. Is interesting. All of these things are interesting. In trade, commerce. Numbers 21:5-9. The people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in this desert? For there is no bread and no water, and we are disgusted with this rotten bread. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us. This is all shepherd economy, right? Right? You brought us here, so now you're responsible for us, right? We have sinned. We've spoken against the Lord and against you. And Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, Make a fiery serpent, set it upon a pole, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looks upon it, shall live. I'm going to stop there because I need you to hear that. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looks upon it, shall live. So medicine became the looking upon of a staff. The seeing the poisonous snake wrapped around the staff heals you if you've been bitten by a snake. Now, some of you have dismissed the entire Bible either allegorically or systematic, whatever, it doesn't matter. But I believe that history is cyclical. Most of us do here. And I believe that syncretism is the same technology as archetypology. Archetypes and syncretism are the same. And the only reason why they're the same is because of the technology of belief. I believe in this concept so strongly I've written a book about it. And when people first hear the technology of belief, they might dismiss me by saying, oh, so you just think that you just imagine and things get better. And I don't think people understand, and if you read the book you see this, how fucking hard it is to jack into your belief. That shit is hard as fuck. And that if you look at every single cell, red blood cell in your body, for example, if you look at every single red blood cell in your body as a RAM chip for will, some of you are like, no, not RAM chip. Okay, as a vessel for will, that your ability to jack into the technology of belief is directly proportional to your ability to process oxygen and infuse your blood with your will when you breathe. That the crucible of your ego, boom, 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 the I am, boom, 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 is constantly asking its master, so mote it be? And that you and I breathe in our beliefs and place them in this chamber. And we sacrifice something in that moment for our will. And what we sacrifice, most of us don't even know, has meaning. That your time is your sacrifice. And that your time is christened and purified in this crucible, in this sarcophagi of your chest. And that you place your Pharaoh, your time, your sacred time, you place your Pharaoh down. You wrap him in swaddling clothes, and you place him inside that chamber. And you wait. And you have complete faith in death as you expunge your lungs, as you empty your cavity. You have nothing promising you that if you let go of all of this breath right now, that you will have more next time. You have no promise of that. You've simply done it so many times that you forgot that every time you expel your lungs, it's a gamble. And because you forgot about that, you don't even feel alive anymore. Because you're not living in the jungle. You're living under a respirator of belief. A respirator that not only is this time unending and eternal, but that I don't even have to fucking be here if I don't want to be. That I can check out whenever I want and I can dismiss things whenever I want because none of it fucking matters. And I would say that that's horrible, but it's not. Because any teenager will showcase the virility, male or female, maybe virility is not the right word, but the essence, the motor of their life by destructing themselves in public. It's no different than a smokestack or a motorcycle revving its engine. It's a complete waste of gasoline, but it gives you a healthy frequency that person is alive. It even gives you a that when the motorcyclist pumps his engine, and people notice that he's making a sacrifice of gasoline, and that you are worshiping him for it, even when you're annoyed by it. That your annoyance to him is your homage to him. That you legitimize him by being annoying. But we think, no, if you hate something, that means you make it disappear. No, that's not how it fucking works at all. It's not how it works at all. That when you hate something, you're worshiping it the same way you would praise it. Keep in mind, those things that we find delicious, we eat. So even our definition of what we call love is an annihilation. That we annihilate the things that we love with time. Because we have to eat that. It's so beautiful, we have to have it. Oh, but James, that's not... You can look at that as a sick way or a disturbing way of looking at love, but if you truly look at what annihilation is, at what death is, if you truly start to unpeel your eyes and actually look at this, you see that this is actually a deeper kind of love. It's a deeper kind of understanding of how this works, of how the sacrifice technology works, that your technology of belief is jacked in to your belief that Moses spoke to the Lord, and that the Lord told Moses to tell you that if anyone looked at this snake on the staff while they're there, that you were healed, and that worked not because the Lord imbued a dead fucking snake, no, but that Lord technology, that Moses himself knew that I can help this person, but I'm going to need to jack into their belief. And the only way I'm going to be able to jack into their belief to give them enough adrenaline to save themselves right the fuck now is I'm going to have to tell them something that is beyond false or true. I'm going to have to stretch my morality and maybe even enter into the realm of lying to this person. Do you really think that Jesus thought that guy was blind? Or do you think that Jesus knew that guy was lying? Why would a blind person be able to navigate that far into the village, to get that close to the water well, to be within 2 or 3 feet of it, and then to suddenly find that he's not able to gather water? Did Jesus really think that he was blind, or that he simply was using that as his prana economy? Did Jesus see the demonology at work inside that man? And did he call him evil and fucking push him off a cliff? Or did he insert himself into his aura and touch his coat of many colors and give that man exactly what he needed at exactly that right time to escape this prana economy of lying to people? Jesus validated him and lied to him at the same time. Jesus wasn't concerned with whether or not you would call him moral. And you fuckers out there that love hunting ghosts, you guys were the ones that put him on the fucking cross. And what's fascinating about all this is that that's what he wanted the whole time. And if you want to go back to my episodes, which no one sees, we talked about this trauma technology. That back then, guys, it had to become illegal to even mourn during plagues. The emotional breakdown of a society when one person dies and the woman will not stop mourning about it is contagious to the entire village. It got to be such a problem that there were strict laws about fashion, about the length of time you could mourn. That this technology of belief was more clearly and more rawly understood and more practiced back then. And the only reason why is because of the cyclical nature of history. It's hard for us to understand, but they were closer to modern technology than you or I were. They just were on the other side of it, but closer. Right? You and I are closer to Cleopatra than Cleopatra was to the pyramids, or something. It's probably wrong, but it's our cyclical nature misses that Gilgamesh, the Sumerians, were closer to high technology than we are. And that if you look around at every single thing you buy in a store, including plastics, that you know for a fact that every single thing in your house is not going to be here in 100 years. And I don't mean it's going to be buried or hidden away. It just physically won't be here. Maybe 200 years, fine. Maybe 500 years if you guys have some really, really thick steel. But even that goes really fast. That this cyclical nature puts us further away from what we think is technology, not closer to it. And that as you start to unravel all these things, you understand why religion was the first technology. And we say, well, religion is the first technology because they didn't know what they're doing. And no, motherfucker. Religion is the first technology because religion is a technology of belief. It's the closest thing we can come to a technology of belief. Faith-based placebo medicine was preserved in the urn of religion. It was carried to you through the Underground Railroad, through the circumcision of your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. That when he was circumcised, he was making a fucking sacrifice to bring you a note from the future, written in the handwriting of the past, telling you how this works. And before you read the technology belief, you might think, well, I'll just read this and then I'll be able to cure any disease. And you don't understand how this technology works. This shit's real. And that each of us will try and tap into our belief, but we can't pretend to believe. You and I do not have that capability. We can pretend to believe. We can feign ourselves in front of each other. All of us will say, yes, I believe in the Bible or every single word, but each of us know deep down inside which parts don't make sense to us. And that deep down inside is where this technology of belief comes. It is not a majority rule. That you don't suddenly win powers because a lot of people believe that you believe. But that's where we are. That's where most of our movements are. On this idea that majority rule is the same as belief. And it's never worked that way. Not once. We're confusing our love. Sorry, Mel. We're confusing our love for humanity with the technology of belief. Very, very, very different things. But again, we can only touch God when we hold each other's hands. It's the only way. So it makes sense that we're confused by that. If you drop these glasses, you will see. It's not two snakes. It's one. Come on. These are symbols of commerce, guys, not medicine. This is on the coin of trade. Caduceus was about trade, not medicine. As I said, Hermes, well, maybe I didn't say this, but Hermes, after turning the world backwards. Okay, so Hermes was keeping Apollo's sheep. And he decided to play a trick on Apollo, and he took the hooves off every one of his sheep and he turned them backwards. And he took his own sandals off and he put them backwards. Then he put those sheep, he led them to a cave, but all the footprints were heading the opposite way. Apollo got mad. Zeus is judge. Now, Zeus had a motive. Zeus didn't want man having immortality. So Zeus decided that instead of Apollo handing down this power to the rightful heir, Asclepius, that because of how clever Hermes was, that Hermes would become the new shepherd of the flock, that Hermes would be the new leader of man. And so a messenger of communication became the source of medicine. The belief in a dead snake on a stick was usurped. Snake oil, right? What a fascinating word to use. Snake oil. Greek poet Homer, who described the caduceus as possessing the ability to charm the eyes of man. To charm. Of course, it definitely makes you think about Egypt, doesn't it? And the two ladies. On the left, you see an older depiction of a single snake, the rearing cobra. And on the right, you have both. Now, it's actually a vulture and a snake, but the vulture really does look like a snake. And I think the reason why the vulture looks like the snake is because you're looking at the two ladies. Now, historically, they will tell you, well, this was how we united Upper and Lower Egypt. And I got no beef with that, but let's come back to syncretism a bit. That now you have Egypt doing the same thing. That Egypt had one snake, and then they switched to two snakes. But it's not just two snakes, because the second snake, the vulture, which looks like a snake, is Quetzalcoatl. It's fucking Quetzalcoatl. That the union of these two snakes, of the rearing cobra and the white vulture, is Quetzalcoatl. And that the rumor of Amu-Ra is that a snake will coil itself around the rock and a bird will come down and eat it. And the bird and the snake will join forces and become Quetzalcoatl. And our great seal has on it the laurels and the arrows, the same as the Egyptians carrying the crook and the flail. And this syncretism, the Eye of Ra on top of the pyramid, which is said to be the union of those snakes, by the way, that Ra, Auroras, the rearing cobra, that the idea of Ra itself is the combination of the vulture and the snake. So Quetzalcoatl itself and Egypt are the same. They share the exact same archetype, and that only that archetype would form the architecture of belief. Belief. And that all this ancient history we're looking at has one thing in common. These fuckers built a lot of temples. Now, I get a lot of times what they're calling a temple wasn't really a temple, but if you look back, every single historical building is a temple. A temple of belief. And if you want to grant yourself a little bit of the humility to think that maybe we are not the epoch of understanding right now, and that maybe cyclically, these temples that survived because the technology that we will advance ourselves to eventually will be belief. That the poisonous snake stuck to a stick in the sun while you're suffering from a poisonous snake is the power of overcoming that poison. And that by showing you that the poison has been overcome on a stick, that is how your body would archetypally tap into overcoming the poison that you are whispering to your body. You got bit by a snake. And if you know that what happened was you got bit by a snake, you will overcome this. That this archetype is not communicating to you in words. It's giving you the symbology you need to unturn those tumblers to unlock that placebic effect, which has always been belief. Always. It's never been technology. It's always been belief. As Eve said to Adam, how do you like them apples? Boom. All right, we're going to close the show out. I'm going to check the chat, make sure someone doesn't want to drop in like a really good troll or something. Let's see what we got here. That's right. What was it? Oh, guys, here's a big one. Ka. Ba. La. So in Egypt, you have two souls, your two snakes. Your Kundalini, right, is controlled by two souls, your Ka and your Ba. Your Ka is your ego. It's your Ba. Okay, sorry, you have to look that up. Prove my lips. But one is your ego, your living heart, and the other is your intuition, this hidden vulture, this underworlding. That these two Ka, Ba, present you with La. Ka, Ba, La. It goes back to this syncretism thing. The reason why I think syncretism is the key is because serendipity and coincidence, whether they're meaningful or not, have nothing to do with how much it jacks your energy inside. That tickle that you feel is the true root of power. And that however you got that tickle, whether it be whether it's false data, doesn't really matter. Every elite athlete practices the technology of belief. And none of them give a shit if it's wrong. They just know it works. And they know it works because they believe it works. Even if it doesn't work, it still works. So you see that this syncretism, that this finding yourself in flow state inspiration, where you're just like, oh, I can't believe I just saw that, or that hit so many for me, that essence that you feel, that aliveness that you feel, that is the crucible of I am saying, fuck yes, what do we want to do? It's the purest, rawest form of self there is. It's pure inspiration. And it's the exact antithesis of greater good. That even by looking at greater good, the only way you could even try and do the math of what makes greater good would be to evacuate and piss yourself inside out long enough till you can see. And once you become inverted, there's no going back. I had a friend named Beth that was like, she was so inverted about everything. And she started talking to me about the rebel archetype. And she's like, yeah, James, you're just a real rebel archetype. And then she went on to explain that I was a rebel archetype because I was always going against the grain. But that's not what a rebel does. A reactionary always goes against the grain. A rebel would simply do. And a rebel would naturally find that many times they're not going against the grain. But it doesn't matter. Why? Because the rebel's just being themselves. It's your perception of them that's calling it rebel. And the only way you would recognize yourself as a rebel is by emptying yourself, by evacuating yourself, stepping outside of yourself with compassion, by the way, with the plasma of compassion, and looking at yourself externally. Most of us spend our entire life outside the car, walking around going, what do I look like when I drive? And then we'll take a cardboard printout of us and put us in the driver's seat and close the door and put sunglasses on us and walk around and look. We don't want to drive the car. It's way too dangerous. You kidding? What if we run out of gas? What if we hit somebody? No. What if we get lost? No. No, I'm just going to sit here and walk around the car. Even that is life. Even that's living. There's no good or evil here. It's not wrong for someone to spend their life taking selfies of themselves in the car. If that's what they can muster for this life, fucking awesome. The Oconee Bell is the smallest flower you will ever see. And it's the first one that comes up in spring. The very first one. And flowers aren't good or evil, are they? But we are for fucking yelling at them. Going, you need to be more good, you stupid flower. Because I'm good. So it's so fucking retarded. No, James, it's true. God, he's just an idiot. And he didn't know to trust Lucifer. He thought he could trust Lucifer and he couldn't because God's a fucking idiot. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. So don't look at me like I'm the weird one. You're the weird one who's been walking around this whole time going, yeah, God was a fucking idiot because he had trust issues. He didn't trust someone. And he had no idea that man would be so arrogant. Oh, he had no idea. It was terrible. That's so insulting. Man, what a way to end that, right? Cobba Stone. Yeah, there you go. Nice bait. I'm something of a fascist myself. Good, Sark. It's important. Oh, no, he said the evil word burned him Luciferian. That's right. If anyone wants to burn me as a Luciferian, please know that we know how profitable that will be for you. Tonight, I will be on a Ironworks Media with Walt. Iron Realm Media. Look that up on YouTube, someone. See if you can find a link. But I'll be on that show tonight. I think like 5-ish or 6-ish or so. I actually have a long day. A lot of different. We have Dojo right now. If anyone is in Dojo, we talk about these very things. Maybe we don't have to talk about these things. We can talk about anything in Dojo. But sometimes we'll talk about these things that we talk about on the show. So if you want to go deeper in that, please do. Please do not come to Dojo if you think that I'm the person who's supposed to give you an answer to something. I don't think we have many people in Dojo who do that. Maybe a long time ago we did, but I know in the comments a lot of people are like, you shouldn't listen to him because he's telling you something wrong. And it's, guys, if you've been watching me, you fucking know I'm telling you things wrong. You fucking know that. People don't watch me because they don't know what's right. And they need someone like me to tell them. Do you know how insulting that is? The fact that you think that people should watch shows to learn what's right kind of shows me that you're trying to figure out what's right by watching others, which is really, you went to Kinko's, you printed out a big cutoff of yourself, you use your whole body. You don't have a camera that can do that, so you took some supermodel dude from the mall outside the movie theater, and you taped your head to it, and you folded that guy down in your Corolla, and you're walking around, you're filming it. And that's your life, and you're like, I'm good. Look at that. I'm not passing anyone on the road. I'm not taking anyone to the parking place. I'm good, and man, go for it. But that's not what people do here. This is a breakfast of champions. People know that. And you count on my authenticity to fuck up, so you know what's right. You learn what's right so much more when you watch me fuck up. That's why this glory hole humming makes no sense. Someone said, James, how dare you suggest that a glory hole would be a good decision? And I'm telling you that if you hole and you wanted to experience what it was like to put your junk in that glory hole, that you learn more about yourself by doing that. If you were at the spot where you were like, hey, I really wonder what happens, then by you not doing that, you're not learning anything at all. We don't understand how important it is to be at the point where you would truly wonder that. That the few times that I've been in a truck stop bathroom that I've seen a hole be imagined as a glory hole, the last thing I wanted to do was stick my junk in it. But if there are people out there that do see that and say, I wonder what would happen, I don't think they're evil. And the fact that you think that they are evil just shows me how easy your compassion is. That it could be that if that person sticks his junk in that glory hole, that could punch together the entire Scantron of Dojo Earth and make every single piece fit in perfect harmony, and they would turn into this Krishna figure. I don't know that wouldn't happen. I don't know that a glory hole isn't the secret way to find yourself as Krishna, but apparently you do. Because you've told everybody how evil everyone would be for trying that. Why would you be evil for trying something that you're genuinely curious about? Why? Because as soon as you do that, you start to apply that the next time you're genuinely curious about something. The next time you're genuinely curious about something, if you stuck your junk in the rusty glory hole, that the next time you saw a glory hole, you would no longer be curious what happens. You would instead recall, hey, what happened last time I did that? Well, there was a goat on the other side. Someone brought a goat in and decided that their sins would be absolved if they could just convince this goat to suck off a stranger at a truck stop. See? That's where you're going without this stuff. Think about that. Or don't think about it. It's fine. Jason, remember that God compartmentalized himself to remain holy, glory hole. Not yet. The seraphim and his guard dogs information is reported to him and my... Okay. I just noticed the correlation between holy, glory, glory hole, holy, glory, holy. Anyway, you got to admit that's kind of interesting too. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you can make it to Dojo for those of you who want. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. Yeah, you guys are mostly talking to yourself, which is great. Like, what I mean is you're expressing more like, yeah, the chatter for witness advised. Prometheus is a rebel to them. He was just the one who lit. Yep. Hey, Boz369, good to see you. I've not been on Instagram because most of the people that I went to high school with are just sickening right now. Watching them go on about this juice, it's so sick. You're one of the people I miss there. Yes, on Iron Realm, Bren, if you could find a link for people, that would help a lot. If you could post that in the chat, that would actually help a lot. I want one, but I don't have it. All right, let's sign off. You guys are waiting for the song. You don't need to hear me go on and on. Thanks for being here. I really mean that, what I say about Witness. And I hope that these things have given you something to think about. If you're willing to go past this good and evil thing, not once do I ever dismiss one's responsibility for one's actions. Not once. In fact, by removing evil from it, it means you become responsible for your actions too. Because if we really, really want to use this word evil, all of us are evil as fuck for paying taxes. All of us are evil as fuck for the system. You're evil as fuck for paying car insurance. You're evil as fuck for paying health insurance. And I don't think you're evil. I think that's just a retarded way of looking at feelings. That's it. All right. Yeah, come hang out on Telegram. There's a group on Telegram for the show. Actually, there's two groups. There's sort of like the Secret Johnny group's really nice too. I hope you guys can find that. I don't have links or else I'd share it with you. All right. I'm out of here.